This video is going to pick up where we left off when we talked about the scenarios and we started our initial graph data model. What we're going to do now is move to the modeling tool, and this is the modeling tool. It carries over the model we started from the business scenarios. What I want to do now is I want to talk about instance modeling. Instance modeling is a type of modeling where you actually work with examples. So in this case, we know that Keanu has like acted in a movie with another actor. So I want to represent that in model form here. So what I'm going to do is going to start with actor. And I notice there's a little glitch here. If this happens, best thing to do is just refresh the page. And then we're back in action. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring up the properties. I'm going to say name, and we're going to have an instance of an actor called Keanu, like this. So this is just, the text-based stuff. But what I want to show is this acted with a relationship. I want to have an example of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out here, and I'm going to make another actor node. And when I do that, what happens is you'll note that there's this label up here called instance model. Typically in Cypher Workbench, you're dealing with what I call like a logical model, which really works on the types of the things of the graph types in these cases, which are node labels. So there's types of things in the graph world. Those are labels or node labels. In this case, since Cypher Workbench thinks in node labels terms, when you use the same node label twice, it's like, oh, you're thinking about instances of those. So an instance of a label. So in this case, we've got Keanu as one instance. In the other case, we have, let's put Hugo, Hugo down. No, let's say name. Hugo as another actor. And we're going to do something like this, acted with. So this is what it would look like if it was written to the database. And we'd have to also point this back to acted in. And our movie in this case would be something like, let's add a title, The Matrix. So doing this process of instance modeling, what you do is you actually start coming up with what the graph might actually look like when the data is loaded. A couple other things too. You start getting to the level of like properties, which may be important. So I've got like name here, title for movies. But at this level though, you're still probably not good enough to where you can actually load data. And then what you'd want to do is you'd want to keep refactoring this model. Typically what you would do is you'd actually do something like this, where it's like you think about the things on the screen like actors and producers, and you might think to yourself, well, what if an actor is a producer? Or if we're talking about directors, there's directors and actors that are the same person. So you need to think about in the real world what your data is like and how best to conceptualize it. So in this case, I'm going to make a person node. I'm going to make a movie node. So in this case, it would be the same sort of thing as this movie. And what I would do is I would use something like this, acted in like this to describe the types of things that can exist in the database, whereas this instance modeling is more of like an example. Keanu acted with Hugo in The Matrix. This is just the generic type of any kind of person acting in any kind of movie. So these are just different ways to think about modeling. One thing I'll note too is there is this validation capability here. You can do a validate model, and you'll notice all this sort of red ink, or not really red ink, orange ink over top of the model. And Neo4j has a preferred way of naming things. So some of these things down here are like style guide things, like actor is not camel case, whereas in this case it is camel case. Other things are there's no node key. Node keys are important for when you want to import data. You want to have something that's defined as a node key, which is going to become part of, like if I, in this case, I'll call it name, like node key like this. Um, so if I do something like this person with a name, and now we have this star here, which represents a node key. I can revalidate this, and this one is now good. So it's got the right style. It's got at least one property. It's got a node key. It can have other properties as well, but this one's good to go. So this is a tool for you to use if if you really don't care about the style guide or anything like that, or if you're just noodling around. You, of course, you don't have to run the validator at all, or you could even turn them off like this and like rerun. So if I turn all these off, I think probably we're gonna have, yeah, everything's good because we've got names, we've got relationship types that are defined. For instance, if I were to like take away produced and make it like, oop, text cannot be empty. So that one doesn't even let you do it. But if I were to like add a new one, for instance, like that, it's probably gonna get flagged. Yeah. So you need to have an actual relationship type there. So it's a tool for you to use if you want. And with that, I'm going to stop this video and then we'll pick up with some other tools in another video. Thanks so much.